Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Crimes with your host, Michelle Sutton and Kristen.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Happy New Year's to everybody, but this is a really good kickoff to the new year, huh?
I know. So, everybody, um, please say hello when you come in so that we know that you're here. So, the affidavit was released. We didn't think it would be released until after court, but it was released about the time that he was going into court. So, um, we've read a
Which
little
was,
bit of it. There's
yeah,
like
which was my understanding is that as soon as he actually probably entered the courthouse or courtroom, that they had the ability to unseal it at that point in time, or
right.
they could do it after court. So they just got it out of the way and ripped the Band-Aid off. So,
And I think we're going to see more of this in like the
mhm.
Madalena case. They're going to seal it for now.
Yeah.
Um, but the reason I wanted to go live and talk about it is because what we thought, what the world thought, or the United States thought, nobody was even close on this one. Nobody called this one. Um,
Sorry.
and looking at the overall picture of this affidavit, um, everything changes. Or what we've been told is not even the situation. The timeline is completely different. Um, there's a lot more in this affidavit than we were told. Some of this is going to shock you guys. So, in the chat, um, if you've already seen the affidavit, put a 1. If you have not and you're dying to know all about it, press 2. And let's try to kick this algorithm up.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey,
hey,
Casey.
sister.
And if you have seen it and you don't want to hear us going through it, that's fine. But if you want to stay with us and hear our thoughts on it and process it along with us, then we would love to do that with you.
Yeah. So, I am working really hard in the background to get the shadow ban lifted. I found some interesting stuff last night to help with that. So that's what I've been doing today so far. And then, so anyways, I got my Kit Kats. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's get this affidavit pulled up. Hold on a sec. Let me get my other screen open so I can read this.
Hey, RT, glad you joined us.
Wow, RT, I haven't seen you in forever.
Hello, Atlas.
Atlas says she is dying to know what is in it.
And y'all, just so you know, Princess is not here at the moment, and she's in a place where she has really bad Wi-Fi, but she may come in momentarily, and then she can kind of read chat. So if you have forensic type questions, maybe some criminalistic type questions, I'm going to do my best on the criminalistic side because I know a lot. But if it's forensics related, you know, Michelle can kind of write that down, or one of the mods can. And when Princess comes in here, she could try to answer that for you.
Oh, my glasses. Hold on. All right, here we go. Let me see if I can see this on StreamYard because I won't be able to see comments. No, I'm not going to be able to see that on StreamYard. All right, so just let me know of any comments that need to be addressed because I can't see it from the screen. All right, the below information is provided by, this is Exhibit A. This was, looks like December 29th. Okay, Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne. The below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is a duly appointed, qualified, and acting peace officer within the county of Latah, state of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. CBL Corporal Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department Sergeant Blaker and I responded to the house on King Road, here after the King Road residence, to assist with the scene, security, and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. Moscow Police Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. Officer Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Officer Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor. So we're on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernodle's hereafter Kernodle room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. So I want to stop there and let's talk about that first, because
Hey, KTM.
a lot of people, I can't. Good morning, KTM. A lot of people had said that Ethan was the one laying in the floor. We also were told that they were all in their beds. So now we know, in fact, it wasn't Ethan, that it was, in fact, Xana who was laying in the floor. So,
which to me is indicative of her father letting out that she had defense wounds. So she wasn't just laying in bed asleep. She was in the bath. She was where she was, which could indicate she was alert and trying to fight off her attacker.
Yeah. Sounds like maybe she had come out of the bathroom or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined, autopsy report provided by Spokane. Okay, well, why is there nothing on that paper? Okay.
It's just a dead piece of paper.
County Medical Examiner dated December 15th, 2022, to be caused by sharp force injuries. So it sounds like he did not have the same weapon as Xana, because hers was an edged weapon and his was a sharp force weapon. I then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the 3rd floor of the residence. The 3rd floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee's. Hereafter, Goncalves. I always feel like I'm saying it differently. Mm-hmm. I later learned from review of Officer Nunez body camera, there was a dog in the room. When Moscow police officers initially responded, the dog belonged to Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend, Jack. I found out more from my interview with Jack on November 13th, 2022, that he and Kaylee shared the dog. Officer Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the 3rd floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's, hereafter Mogan bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the 3rd floor. So Madison's bedroom's on the 3rd floor. Kaylee's old bedroom was on the 3rd floor, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Kaylee and Madison were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Acre insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA suspect profile left on the button snap of the knife sheath.
Okay, why don't we stop there? We have some people come in. Hi, Foxfire, Gloria Smitten, and RT. Yeah, this is going to sound bad. So you guys aren't up for it, I get it. You can kind of watch it later at your own pace. But it is very informative. It's very indicative of the process of policing. And by policing, I don't mean just the initial level of policing, like Moscow Police Department. This goes all the way up to FBI, BAU, all that they have to do. So there's a reason we did not know, and you'll kind of figure this out as we go through these 19 pages. There's a reason that this stuff just can't be let out in the timeline we want it to be known. It heavily damages a case. And if we are going to get justice for these 4 individuals and their families, we need to have some patience and some belief and faith in our system. And I know that's gone awry because the system has messed up plenty of times, but we've got to get it back on track. And we can't just lump every single case in with, oh, it's going to be a wash. Somebody's going to F it up. It just can't. We can't just do that. We have to believe that every department is different, and that, I mean, we saw it with Quentin Simon's case. We were befuddled and just like, what's going on? Because we didn't know anything. They were working tirelessly, you guys. So we just have to have the patience and give them the power of prayer, faith, whatever strength you want to give them to do what they need to do to catch these person or persons responsible for these injustices. So thank you so much for you guys for coming on in. P.S. I'll shiny hi everybody. So just be patient. As it's 19 pages. Understand if you have to go, but we're going to give it the best shot that we can to explain it. And I will, as you'll see here shortly in the first few pages, from the surviving roommates, I will go through the psychological component of that. So, because you'll have a lot of questions by like, what if this and what if that? I'll be able to answer that to the best of my ability without being in the actual psyche of the person that's being traumatized at that time. So, so let's go ahead and go through the next portion, Michelle.
Okay. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM, both BF and DM. Do you guys know who that is, right?
Dylan is the DM. I can't remember the other one's name. Brianna, maybe? I don't know. I can't remember her first name.
I can't remember her name. I know Dylan was one because I thought it was a pretty name, considering that it's usually hard for a boy. Okay, well, they were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. So Brianna's is on the first floor. So this is gonna change the whole trajectory, guys. Okay. So we have always thought that the 2 surviving victims were on the bottom floor. Kaylee and Madison were on the top floor, and the middle floor, second floor, was Ethan and Xana. Okay. So now we know for sure that Brianna's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. Based on numerous interviews conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, 2002, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by BF at the Sigma Chi House of the University of Idaho campus.
It's actually Sigma Chi.
Oh.
Just,
Wait,
everybody's been saying it just because if you're not familiar with the Greek letters, it's easy to chop up all these Greek letters with mispronunciation. So yeah, it's
but hold on. Oh, okay, never mind. Ethan and Xana were seen at the party.
Mm-hmm. The Sigma Chi House, yes.
Yeah, Sigma Chi. From approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. Brianna also estimated that at approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. So 1:45 in the morning is when they were seen coming home. So they did not go anywhere between the party and the
Right.
home, which was very questionable. People were trying to figure out where they had went, and they didn't go anywhere. So BF also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernodle. Okay. Kaylee and Madison were at a local bar, the Corner Club at North Main Street in Moscow. Kaylee and Madison can be seen on the video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 on November 12th and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30 a.m., they can be seen on the video at a local food vendor called the Grub Truck, Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on the website. This video was captured by law enforcement. A private party reported that he provided a ride to So they redacted whoever it was that gave them a ride.
Right.
But he went forward apparently. A private party reported that he provided a ride to Kaylee and Madison at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. DM
they're just redacting that because that person will be part of the trial.
DM and BF both had made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. So there's a 2-hour period there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Christina, thanks for joining in.
But everybody was home. Oh, I'm sorry. So everybody was home. Everybody was home by 2 a.m. Hey, you guys, sorry. I'm on a different page, so I can't see the comments.
Yeah, I see the chat for you. So if I interject, it's to acknowledge.
I'm not ignoring anybody.
She's in between computers, and she's
the only thing that I'm going to ask, because I did switch over here, if you've already read this, don't let anything out of the bag yet. Let us kind of get through it first, and then we'll talk about it, or we'll break it down as we go along. So, all right. So everybody was home by 2 o'clock. And in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Xana, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash driver who reported this information. So the DoorDash driver came forward and told. All right. And they stayed quiet. Nobody, I hadn't heard anything about that.
Yep.
All right. Dylan stated that she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. You want to stop there?
Wait, where were we at here? Second paragraph? Wait, I'm sorry. I had to look at something.
Page 5, first paragraph.
Okay.
Dylan stated that she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor.
Okay. Again, confirmation. Her room's on the second floor.
Yep. Not the first floor.
Yes. Confirmation there. It's been stated more than once, so. Anything else you want to say about that?
No.
Okay.
It's just, this is why we say fact check everything. But what she stated sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. No, she stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could have been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m.
Again, debunking that these murders happened in the 3 to 3:30 in the morning original theory. So again, if she posted something on TikTok, it hasn't been caught that, unless if there's not that exact timestamp, but it wasn't caught that she was actually alive past that time frame.
Can you imagine if she had been live when that attack happened?
No, and it's quite possible, but I mean, I'm going to say at least he was on the premises if nothing had happened yet. So
Dylan stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. Dylan stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. Dylan then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect, "It's okay, I'm going to help you."
okay, so if you stop right there, so what we were originally told, and this is going by the immediate coroner's report, was that they were pretty much killed instantaneously. This speaks differently to that. So if Dylan's account is true, then they saw their attacker. They weren't killed instantaneously.
Nope.
Hi, Megs. Thanks for joining in.
Hey, Megan. All right.
Oh, and RT, yeah, right? Sigma Chi always has good parties, so this is a bummer for sure. Yeah. Speaking as a sorority girl, yeah, they do have some pretty awesome parties.
At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northeast of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. Security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. Now,
there you go, folks.
What the heck? So the whole thing about the dog not barking and why the dog didn't bark, again, that is being debunked. The dog did bark. Dylan stated that she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows.
Okay, can you stop right there? Because
the bushy eyebrows is hilarious to me because
okay, and I don't mean to laugh, but okay, Dylan is a sorority member as well, and I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a female in a sorority, we're going to pick out some bad eyebrows.
I'm not in a sorority, but I'm going to pick out bad eyebrows too.
These young ladies are very much about their appearance, and they're going to see somebody on the other side. They may not vocalize it, but they're going to find some key things that with somebody's appearance that they think is kind of, I don't know, questionable. Maybe not the best look. I don't know. But I was like, okay, that fits with with Dylan saying that. It just kind of made me chuckle a little bit. Sorry. Okay,
Megan, do not be texting and driving.
Yeah, Megan,
especially in the snow. All right.
Just drive and listen in, Megan. Don't text, please.
So the bushy eyebrows, y'all know I had a good laugh at that one, even though it's not funny. That's the one description that stood out to Dylan in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it would probably be the same thing that I noticed in that moment, just because eyebrows is like a thing. Mm-hmm. Right. The male walked past Dylan as she stood in a frozen shock phase.
Okay. So
again, we were told there was no witnesses.
Right. So again, total debunking of this. So, if you all see after this, anybody going after Dylan and going, well, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? And I'm going to talk from a psychological perspective. There are plenty of witnesses / survivors to crimes that are frozen in fear for a number of hours. Some are catatonic for numbers of hours and days. I don't find it that peculiar or wrong that she just went, oh my God, I'm frozen. And then she locked the door and she hid because she was afraid for her life. She was in that fight or flight mode. And I am really concerned that with this day and age of social media, she's going to get some backlash for this. But if people are going to say hateful, mean things, it's just not called for. She witnessed something horrific, and I am not sure how completely, if ever, she will get past this. So,
and my question to those people would be, well, what did you expect her to do? What do you think she should have done? Because here's a young girl who literally just sees a man dressed in all black. I know that, at 19, 20 years old, I didn't walk around with, protection then. So in that moment, what was she going to do? She wasn't going to be able to fight him off.
No, she's a tall young lady, but she was very slender. She's not going to fight him off for anything. And I just honestly think she was paralyzed in fear for a number of hours. Even,
but he had the opportunity. This is what I don't get. He had the opportunity to do the same thing to her because she stood there and watched him.
But the reason I believe, again, this is my theory here, I think that Dylan and BF were also possibly to be considered in whoever's in the house is going to have this crime happen to them. The dog started barking, that was heard. It was also heard, as Dylan attests to, a loud thud, some voices being heard. He got spooked off. And that is the reason that I truly believe that Dylan and BF are here today.
All right, he can be seen. Okay, wait, hold on. Where'd it go? Yes, the male walked towards the back sliding glass door. Dylan locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. The combination of Dylan's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phone, and video of suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicide occurred between 4 and 4:25.
Correct. So
not 3:30.
Correct. So that timeline's totally off. So those that are making timelines out here, you got to scrap that and kind of redo the numbers here, and some of the facts that we know to be true now. We also know Xana's allegedly doing TikToks at 4:12 a.m. and this concluded at about 4:25. So there's a good possibility, like Michelle said, between 4 and 4:25, and she's doing TikToks. These things are happening, and she's not aware of it. So are we going to find something digitally from her TikToks? I'm sure law enforcement has that. They're going through that with a fine-tooth comb. They'll listen to see if there's any background noise. So there might be something that comes out of that.
Okay. During the processing of the crime scenes, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the Idaho State Police, forensic team, by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans-type shoe sole just outside the door of Dylan's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with Dylan's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel.
So you could take here that he was actually maybe going towards Dylan's room, but she locked herself in. Or it could just because that could be the path of travel that he took. So there's one of two things that could have happened there. But I do think he was getting spooked and he was getting the heck out of there. And number 3, why wear Vans? Criminal don't wear Vans. They wear boots, y'all. And for somebody that has allegedly studied all of these serial killers, I do not think Ted Bundy was wearing type of Vans type shoes or tennis shoes. A lot of them wear boots.
Persuma, what do you want us to start over, babe?
I don't think she's telling us to start over. I think it was part of a. I think she's saying it's hard to start over, maybe for like Dylan. I don't think she's telling us to start over.
Sorry.
She's actually giving us clapping sounds. So, yeah, I think she's talking about the survivors having the ability to start over, which is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
If at all, if it even can happen. Well, yeah, that's what yes, she's saying
They'll
yes.
never be the same.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. That's what she meant. Great info and perspective. So,
okay. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspects or suspect vehicles traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvass resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in that area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with the other Moscow Police Department officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly. Oh my God! Similarly, I give up today. Reviewing footage that was obtained. I don't know why I couldn't say that. It's all right though. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indiana Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate.
So you all can surmise by this as, well, first of all, if it's okay with all you, suspect vehicle 1, to keep saying this repeatedly because they're going to do this, it might be easier, Michelle, to just say vehicle 1 or suspect vehicle or SV or something, however you want to shorten it so you don't get tongue-tied. But basically they're showing you, so he's actually been shown digitally in pursuit in the 3 o'clock hour. So these could, again, showing with certainty that he could not have been in the house when it was originally thought. He was there in the 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah. He wasn't in the house at 3:30. So vehicle 1 could be seen entering the area of, wait, did I finish that? Off of my experience to patrol, this is a resident. No, didn't.
Your review of the footage up there.
From multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by, so he drove around 3 times the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Waltina Drive. Based off of my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that entered and exited this area during this time frame. Well, BKs is one of those, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area fourth time at approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 King Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle is in front of the King Road residence, it appears to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turnaround and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road.
Okay, so here I had a little chuckle. Michelle had to just wait for me to finish chuckling. Sir was having some problems parking. He was stalking these people. He knew what he wanted to do, but boy was having some parking problems. Out of all the problems he had that night, he had some parking problems too.
I mean, I'm just like,
okay, Christian Mel, thanks for stopping in. We'll probably be on for a little while, so if you want to stop back in, we'd love to talk to you. Plus, Michelle and I want to talk to you about something else.
Yeah, I do want to talk to you about something.
Yeah, KT,
I'm just thinking, was he like freaking out at this point? Like he's just driving around. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Is this what he's,
No, I believe he wanted to do this. I think he was on an adrenaline high, so it was making him screw up some stuff. But I think he fully knew, and he had this pre-planned for some time. And that will lay out in trial because they have some other evidence that he's been in this area for quite some time. Yeah, I think Boyd just had some adrenaline going on, and he just was screwing up his parking problems.
Okay, vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road resident at approximately 4:20 a.m. So he literally just like was parked right there at it.
Mm-hmm, pretty much over to the side, but yeah, pretty much there. And then he hightailed it out of there at a high rate of speed at 4:20
a.m. So at a high rate of speed.
That shortens that. So Xana was making TikToks at 4:12. So in 8 minutes time, yes, RT, I do believe this is premeditated and then some. In 8 minutes time, he proceeded to kill Xana and Ethan before he got out of there.
High rate of speed is next observed traveling southbound on Waltina Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during the time frame. I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Concealing Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilize surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles and uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that the suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is a 2011-2016 white Hyundai Elantra. So we all remember the whole issue with the white Elantra. Like everybody was being questioned because everybody drives a white Elantra on. I mean, you go onto any college Okay. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra, known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on Washington State University surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way at approximately 2:53 a.m. A white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast at Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington towards SR-270. SR-270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. The camera footage from Pullman, Washington there's pictures.
There's pictures.
Was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington, as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the suspect vehicle, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palusi River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga. I can't see that one. Leads directly back. Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northeast on SR-270 at approximately 5:27 a.m. The white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Graham's Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. Okay, depiction showing the Moscow and Pullman. The white Elantra path of travel. Yeah, no. I can't see it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be clearer when it's up on the larger screen in court, but it's hard to tell from these because it's just black and white.
Yeah. On November 25th, 2022, Moscow Police Department asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for white Hyundai Elantras in the area. On November 29th, 2022, at approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State University police officer Daniel Tiengo queried white Elantras.
Queried
White Elantras registered at.
So basically, it's just he looked at all the white Elantras that could be registered at Washington State University property. So
as a result of that query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate LFZ 8649. The vehicle was registered to Bryan K hereafter residing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way. Last camera location was that picked up the white Elantra. The same day at approximately 12:58 a.m., Washington State University officer Curtis Whitman was looking for white Hyundai Elantras and located a 2015 white Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in the parking lot. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is an apartment complex that houses Washington State University. Students, Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington State driver's license information and photograph. The license indicates that Kohberger is a white male with a height of 6 foot and weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male Dylan saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th. Now, let's just take a moment and talk about how he was identified by his bushy eyebrows. Dude, you should have waxed them monkey brows.
Right. They're the giveaway here.
Further investigated, including a review of Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke's body cam and reports showed that on August 21st, 2022, Bryan was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho by Corporal Duke. At the time, Kohberger, who was the sole occupant, was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFZ 8649, which was set to expire on November 30th, 2022. During the stop, which was recorded via a law enforcement body camera, Kohberger provided his phone number as hereafter the phone.
Scroll up, honey. Scroll up.
Scroll up.
I think so, because you already gave the plate, and most of it's in 2 spots.
Oh, I still had plenty on my page.
Oh, okay. The last we saw was the plate. So, go ahead.
In his cellular telephone number, investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 phone is a number issued by AT&T.
Okay, so I'm going to interject here real quick. If any of you don't know about big data policing, it is the world that we're living in today. So when I say we got to be really patient, which is hard for all of us because we want answers now. We want conclusions and resolutions to the injustices in the world. Big data policing, and there's many people that are going to have good arguments on both sides because I was like, why infringe on my privacy? But I just talked to a police officer that's just local here in my town. I just met him for the first time, and he was talking to me about Princess and what she's doing. And he said, do you know the gift that these forensics students and professionals are giving us in the field with the use of big data policing? Because without that, we could not solve the cases like BK or Simon or anybody else that we've seen recently. This is how we're doing it, folks. And this is the future, for good or bad. I get both sides of it, but big data policing can really just give us lay it out for us in a whole mapping type of sequence that shows where people have been, what they've done, even down to the toilet paper that they purchase. It's going to be known, because that is what we need to solve these crimes in the future. Metadata takes time. Exactly, Smith. So she had to go, Michelle had to go do something real fast, so I'll re-chat. Tim, why would you premeditate a crime and take your own vehicle? Again, a good question, red flag for me, because a lot of criminals don't take their own vehicle, or they'll rent a vehicle. That's really common. So why he took, what, honestly, this guy is just that cocky. He thinks because he has studied some of the great serial killers of the world, that he knows better than any of them. And you'll hear plenty of academia, plenty of professionals that'll tell you in the coming weeks, this guy wasn't as smart as he thought he was. For somebody who was that much of a genius in a PhD program, he should have known better. Trim your eyebrows, get some sort of shoes that don't leave prints like Vans, and certainly do not take your own vehicle that can be tracked from the moment you leave Washington State University.
Or leave behind the sheath.
Yeah, or the sheath, come on, dude. He has to be smarter than that, right? Apparently not. So thanks, RT.
Yeah, we do a pretty good job of tag teaming. All right. On October 14th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop by Washington State University police officer. Upon review of the body cam and report of the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant and was driving white. He just got pulled twice?
Yep, he just got pulled twice.
Jesus. Kohberger was the sole occupant and was driving the white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate tag. I'm not repeating that again. On November 18th, 2022, according to Washington State licensing, Kohberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with Washington and later received Washington plate. Prior to this time, the 2015 white Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania, which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through communications with a Pennsylvania officer who is currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania, based on my own experience and communication with Washington law enforcement. I know that Idaho and Washington require front and back license plates to be displayed. I think it's weird that that is not all the way across.
Yeah, every state's different because we had, coming from California, we had front and back. And now here in Florida, we don't need it. But then that's not necessarily, they don't have to have it. I kind of think they don't need to have it in Mississippi when I was there. So I was just kind of noticing that too. Every state's different on their requirements.
I know that Idaho and Washington. Okay. Investigators believe that Kohberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13th by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. Information provided by a query to a database. So they had already put this into electronic key monitoring, and it was flagged.
It was flagged immediately, yeah.
Even though they had not put this out for the public knowledge, they were doing this behind the scenes. So
correct.
You can thank the sleuthers for this, and it was messed up bad this time. Like the likelihood of true crime communities staying alive after this case is going to be really hard.
Well, and there's going to be even more that comes out that really speaks to what wasn't accurate. That's the best way to say that. But, you know, there's, in true crime, there's some channels that are saying, look, he got stopped in Indiana and they were stopping him so they could get him on a body cam and like get some good shots of him, himself, his hands, his arms. That might be true. I don't know. I don't know that we could say one way or the other without the law enforcement saying that. But the other side of that is that could have gone awry as well, because that could have tipped him off that people were following him.
Yeah, I don't think that was the...
Sorry, I hit my computer.
Well, I mean, I won't touch any case that I won't... If you've been with me from the beginning, like, I always try to have the facts or either debunk somebody else's theory. But this one, I was already covering Quentin's case, and Quentin's case was had my heart more than this case did. Not to say that, you know, I don't feel for these families and the victims. That's not at all what I was, you know, it's just, it had so much coverage and attention, and it was all, none of it was true. I mean, we're sitting here and looking at this affidavit, and nobody was close to getting any of this correct.
Now, that doesn't mean that Michelle won't, like, if there's pertinent information that comes out on this case, that she'll put it out there if it's factual information going along. But it may be that we just really get to the bulk of it during the trial, and that'll probably be on my channel, where Michelle will be a panelist on my channel, so we can go over the legalities that are happening over there. So whenever that does happen, we'll I mean, he had his hearing today, so I could talk about that at the end of the affidavit, and then I can give you my 2 cents on that. So.
Yeah. And it was this, you know, when I look at the overall situation with the cases that I do, when it gets to a point where you cannot have you can't put any facts out, it's time to move to another case and help get the word out. So I'm not going to change my ways to fit everybody else's drama sales type thing. I'm not going to do that. Like, this took them this happened in November. 7 weeks to solve this.
And you know what? That's pretty damn fast. They did not
put out anything other than that white Elantra. That was the only thing that they put out. Everything else,
that's pretty damn fast. As a timeline, 7 weeks is nothing when you have 4 murders. That's how sloppy he was.
Okay. By license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. Information provided by Koberger's launcher was then carried on December 15th, 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County, Indiana. On December 16th, 2022 at approximately 2:26, surveillance video showed Koberger's launcher in Albertsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Koberger. Koberger has family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, learned through a TLO search and locate tool database query. Based on information provided on the U.S. website, the Washington State website, Koberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University, pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department. We learned that Koberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. How did he? These records also, I can't. These records also showed Koberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Koberger wrote in his essay he had interest in assisting royal law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Koberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found by an open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime.
Mm-hmm.
We've all seen it.
Mm-hmm.
The Reddit pages, we've seen them all. He did. He had a paper to write, and he asked for people to, yeah.
And there's also speculation out there that he did this survey to kind of scope out other people that might be like-minded like him, that could help him. We just don't know that yet, you guys. It could very well be. I'm not saying it's not happening, but until we see it, I don't know that I would go with what's out there in social media just yet. But it could have been, sure, a grooming type of a situation where he was trying to figure out who could help him emotionally, psychologically understand that for his own personal benefits on top of his educational professional benefits. But we just don't know that. So I would wait and hold that one on a back burner until we have something that could corroborate that at any rate.
Okay.
And then, Smith and Kitten, they were really fast. The fact that he left the sheet to the life behind in his direct DNA, and he was not even in CODIS. So CODIS, is the thing that we hear about the most, and it's phenomenal what it does. Yes, Bryan was not in CODIS. This case was also able to be solved through the DNA familial genealogy technique that is like the Golden State Killer, where you find other people that are in a database that have that DNA. So that is where they were able to utilize that tool, since nothing was in CODIS. So that's going to be how it kind of goes forward in law enforcement. Is CODIS will not go by the wayside. It's just if they don't have a hit in CODIS, then they're going to have to go to the next step, which is this familial DNA genealogy type of mapping. So,
which I think is like,
it was to my understanding, it was his dad that was in that database, because his dad works for an educational school district or something. Or he has worked in previous employment or current employment that has required him to give a DNA sample. So that is the way that they were able to link it as well.
Okay. Are we ready?
Go for it.
As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize cellular towers in close proximity to the Kings Road residence on November 13th, 2022, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. After determining that Koberger was associated to both the 2015 White Elantra and the 8458 phone number, investigators reviewed these search warrants returns. A query of The 8458 phone in these returns did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 and 5 a.m. So he didn't have his phone.
No. He might have had a burner phone, but he did not have his own phone.
What the hell?
So he was thinking, like, I'm not going to have my phone because that could be tracked. He's smart enough
Right.
to do that.
It's
But
gonna ping.
right, it's going to ping. So they're going to be able to, get the ping off the different towers and then be able to map my behavior and actions, so forth with that. But he probably had a different phone. He probably had a burner phone. Hi, Happiness with K. I don't think he wanted to get caught. I think he wanted to see how he could get away with it. So I think he's just that cocky and arrogant that he just thought, I've learned what I need to learn. I've studied under some of the best. I know what to do with this. So I think he was just too arrogant and too sloppy. Megan, I'm glad you're home safe driving in that mess. Stay safe out there, you guys, if you're in California. All right. You ready, Michelle?
Mm-hmm. Based on my training experience and conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cellular telephone records as part of investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime or turn their cellular telephone off prior to going to a location to commit a crime. This is done by suspects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cellular device associated with them was in a particular area where a crime is committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, suspects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on the circumstances, this could be done a few days before or several months prior to the commission of a crime. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual would not leave their cellular telephone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. On December 23, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12, 2022 at 12 a.m. and November 14th at 12 a.m. for the 8458 phone held by the phone provider AT&T, approximately 24 hours preceding and following the times of the homicides. On December 23, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received records for the 8458 phone from AT&T. These records indicated that the 8458 phone is subscribed to Bryan K at an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since, hold on guys, gotta go down, June 23rd, 2022. These records also included historical cell site location information, CSLI, for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, I consulted with an FBI special agent, SA. This is certified as a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team. Members of CAST are certified with the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI, and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examinations prior to being certified with CAST, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Additionally, the FBI CAST that I consulted with have over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI. From information provided by CAST, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from November 12th, 2022 to November 13th, 2022, the time period authorized by the court. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 2:42 a.m., the 8458 phone was utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage of to 1630 Northeast Valley Road, Apartment G201, Pullman, Washington. Hereafter, the Koberger residence at approximately 2:47 a.m., the 845 phone utilized cellular resources that provided coverage southeast of Koberger residence, consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the Koberger residence and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. This is consistent with the movement of the white Elantra. Approximately at 2:47 a.m., the 8458 phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network is disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or the phone is turned off. The 8458 phone does not report to the network again until approximately 4:48 a.m., at which time it utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to ID State Highway 95 south of Moscow, Idaho, near Blaine, Idaho, north of Genesee. Between 4:50 a.m. and 5:26 a.m., the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling south on Idaho State Highway 95 to Genesee, Idaho, and traveling west towards Uniontown, Idaho, and then north back to Pullman, Washington. He was just driving.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, some of that could be to, to kind of de-escalate himself from the crime, or it could be to just start pinging off all these different places to create some reasonable doubt for going forward if he did get caught.
At approximately 5:30 a.m., the 8458 phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage to Pullman, Washington, and consistent with the phone traveling back to Coburger residence. The 8458 phone's movements are consistent with the movements of the white Elantra that is observed traveling north on Stadium Drive at approximately 5:27 a.m. Based on review of the 8458 phone's estimated locations and travel, the 8458 phone's travel is consistent with that of the white Elantra. Oof.
So I'm going to go back to, I don't think he had a burner phone. I just think he put it in airplane mode or shut it off. He had enough forethought on that. So I don't think he had a different phone with him. I just think he disabled it in some way.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh. Further review indicated that the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13, 2022 that are consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the area of the Coburger residence at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. Specifically, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. The 8458 phone next utilized cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling back to the area of the Coburger residence and arriving to the area at approximately 9:32 a.m. So he just drove around until 9:30 in the morning.
Yep. And like I said, that's, if you're going to profile a criminal mind, some of that's just to really come down off the high of the crime and the kill itself. So, I believe that's a good portion of it, but I also believe it's to create some sort of digital mapping that he wasn't.
Yeah, because this is what he done.
He wasn't there. He wasn't there. He was all over the place. So
yeah, he went way, 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 way out of the way. Because here, either this is his location or this is his location, one or the other. Because I can't tell from this picture because you can't see. Yeah, but you can see the outline of the drive that he took, and he literally just went. I mean, he could have literally.
You know what's even crazier though, is either he's sitting there in bloody clothes this whole time, or he changed somewhere along the way. So where's those clothes? I guess is the best way to say it. But and gross if he was sitting in the bloody clothes for 5 hours.
Yeah, just driving around all bloody and no. Investigators found that 8458 phone did connect to a cell tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14th, 2022. But investigators do not believe the 8458 phone was in Moscow on that date. Huh?
They don't believe it was on what?
How did it connect if they don't believe he was in the area?
Was not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Oh, they're just saying the phone has not connected to any towers. Well, go the other way.
Oh, hold on. I was looking to see.
Basically, he hasn't been back to the area near the crime scene since that date. It's not connected to any towers that provide service to that area since that date.
Well, how did it connect to a tower if he wasn't there?
Since the 14th?
No, they're saying that it was a ping on November 14th, but investigators do not believe the phone was in Moscow on that date.
I don't know. He's probably going to use that as his reasonable doubt. Maybe he has a buddy that had his phone. I don't know. Hi, Claire.
The heck? Based on training experience and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Koberger, the user of the 8458 phone, was likely the driver of the white Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, Washington, and that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Additionally, the route of travel of the 8458 phone during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, and lack of the 8458 phone reporting to AT&T between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Koberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred in the King Road residence.
Hey, Amethyst. Hey guys, if you can hit that like if you haven't done it already.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Please help her with her algorithm problem, her shadow banning.
So,
I think we just have to put a big question mark on that whole paragraph about the phone not being detected after that date. I think it's just going to be played out in court. I think it was just enough for the affidavit to.
But if that's the case, if he did not return, then all those videos that are going around of him, like supposedly a white Elantra returning to the house, you guys can throw that out the window because it's right here affidavit that he never did. He didn't return to the house
or
the area.
Or he did without a phone, or it was off. It's just not pinging. So, but
they don't believe he was in the area either. So
there's also speculation that he may have had some sort of accomplice, but that hasn't been anything that the DA wants to prove right now. They can prove right now because they don't have enough information. So
now I'm wondering that, especially with the part in here where there was different weapons.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's out of the realm that he had multiple knives, because if he went in intending to hurt and harm multiple victims, it's possible that the one knife wouldn't have been sufficient. If there was a struggle and the knife had broke or whatever, he wouldn't be able to do what he wanted to do, or he wanted to throw off the findings by having different types of blades used to show that he and he alone was not part of this crime. There's moments of brilliance in it, and there's moments of really like wah, wah, wah. He just bombed out on it. So I think he had enough forethought in certain areas and not enough in a lot of other areas.
Yeah, I think as far as the pre-planning of it, he had it together.
Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Spirit Wolf.
If he had not have made the mistakes that he made,
he
probably would have gotten away with this.
And Spirit Wolf is saying right here, the victim's DNA was in his car.
Spirit Wolf, I haven't seen you in forever either.
So, that to me, that, like I say, when you can tie 1, 2, and 3 together and you wrap it up in a nice bow with 4, and the 4 is the DNA in a vehicle. I'm like, that's a dead to rights thing. He can fight it all the time, and he's going to say he's not guilty, and he's going to fight this. He's studied enough of the system with that, but it's going to be a long trial, y'all. I can say that.
So the car has now been confiscated, I'm sure, but he was driving it up until the day he was arrested.
Yeah, but when you try to clean out a car,
still in there.
Yeah, when you try to clean out a car with that much DNA in there, you can't get it all out. I mean, look at Casey Anthony's car. There's still DNA and stuff in there. It just you can clean it, but it doesn't get out.
And that's what's, another thing that's like sticking out to me right now is that we'll come back to that. Yeah. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay. I'm going to finish reading this, and then, we only have 2 pages left, and then I'll have to run and get Kella off the bus. So I'll switch to my phone to do that.
Yeah, and I think you guys, part of this patience thing, his car and his Washington apartment apparently were treasure troves of information. So they were looked at after the affidavit. So there's just even more that they have. So you will see, it'll blow your mind.
Okay. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to the search warrant, I received historical records for the 8458 phone from AT&T from the time the account was opened in June 2022. After consulting with CAST, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from June 2022 to present time, the time period authorized by the court. The records of the 8458 phone show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage in the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th.
Ding, ding, ding. So
All of these occasions, except one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days.
So you guys, here goes the premeditation. Since August, there's at least a handful of days that they have corroborated that he is in that area late at night or early morning hours. And yes, KTM, it is true that Idaho does not have the insanity plea, so he is not going to be able to utilize that. And there's a good possibility, a strong possibility, Smitten Kitten, that if he is found guilty of these crimes, because you got to be innocent until proven guilty, that they're going to go for the death penalty on all 4 counts.
Yeah. And we'll come back to that too.
Yeah.
Okay. One of those occasions on August 21st, 2022, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources providing coverage to the King Road resident approximately 10:34 p.m. to 11:35 p.m. At approximately 11:37 p.m., Coburger was stopped by Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke. As mentioned above, the 8548 phone was utilizing cellular resources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during this time, Farm Road and Pullman Highway. This dude just gets pulled all the time.
Well, yeah, because he's apparently he likes to drive fast and he likes to get close to other cars. So, and he just, he's the type that tries to skirt the law, live above the law. So it's not surprising to me he's getting pulled over all the time.
Further analysis of the cellular data provided showed the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13, 2022, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho via US Highway 195 at approximately 12:36 p.m. The 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand located at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington. So in all of this time, he stops to get a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Surveillance footage from the U.S. Chef's store located at 820 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington, and adjacent to Kate's Cup of Joe drive past Kate's Cup of Joe at a time consistent with the cellular data from the 8548 phone. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of the Albertsons grocery store at 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertsons showed Coburger exit the white Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1 at approximately 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance cameras showed Coburger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04 p.m. Coburger's possible path of travel is depicted below.
Jay, hi, welcome in, and Spirit Wolf. If you're going to stalk or commit an atrocious crime, it's best to leave your phone somewhere else talking to towers. You would think that would be a thought process that I would go with. And Amethyst, yes, Ted Bundy was a terrible, terrible driver amongst a lot of other things he was terrible at.
Hey, I'm a terrible driver too, apparently. Okay, now let's see where we're at. I don't know what I just read.
He went through he was just in the supermarket purchasing stuff.
Okay. Additional analysis of the records for the 8458 phone indicated that between approximately 5:32 p.m. and 5:36 p.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to Johnson, Idaho. The 8458 phone then stops reporting to the network from approximately 5:36 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That is consistent with the 8458 phone being in the area that the 8458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time the homicides occurred. On December 27th of 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Koberger family residence located in Albertsville, Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28th, 2022, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as being excluded as the biological father of suspect profile. Holy at least 99.998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Based on the above information, I am requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Bryan C. Koberger, date of birth 11/21/1994, for burglary. I said it right that time. At 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho, and 4 counts of murder in the first degree for the murders of Madison Mogan, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan Chapman. I declare under the penalty of perjury pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct.
So yes, again, there it is. That just after Christmas, they were able to get some content of the trash and able to run Daddy-O's DNA. And you can't really walk away from 999.999%. It is what it is, folks. That's an affirmative, as I would say. Did his dad really drive him to their house knowing he committed the murders? No, I don't think the dad had any clue.
I don't think the parents had any clue.
I don't think the parents had it. I think the parents.
I wonder, did they serve a search warrant for the mail, or did they just go take it out of the trash can?
They just took it out of the trash can, and that happens a lot. And you'll see detectives and stuff. They'll take stuff off the streets, like a cigarette or something. That's not uncommon. But no, I honestly believe his dad didn't know any. I honestly believe that. His dad strikes me as just kind of being oblivious to this whole thing. But his parents are not oblivious, in my eyes, that their son's socially awkward. There's something off about him. So I don't, which goes back to the statements that have been made by his high school friends and other people. So he's had some years of suffering, some bullying, some social problems related to that. So, and he's had some addiction issues throughout his high school years too. So his parents are not oblivious to that he has issues. I just don't think they had any clue that he committed these murders. So the dad didn't fly out there first. I don't think they knew at all. Once the supposed evidence is in the easement, it's public property. Yeah, it is public property. It's just like everything with Quentin Simon. Like once it was thrown in the trash, you can go through all that stuff. So anyway, I think there was some other stuff maybe that we missed, but I'm just going to go up. Thank you, RT, saying great tag teaming again. We'll do it as much as we can on the cases we feel.
I do want to talk about his lawyer.
Do we want to talk about his lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
His lawyer from Pennsylvania, or the blonde woman that was there today?
The one that is the public defender.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't looked enough into her background, but I think that she's like the main one. The main one, I think. Because they only have, you guys, so because there's such a small town, so the woman that was doing the autopsies, she cannot represent, there's a conflict of interest, so she can't represent BK. And then my understanding is there's 2 other DAs that don't have extensive history and experience with capital murder cases. So they didn't want those people to be necessarily assign the case because you don't want that to be thrown out on an appeal. So I'm thinking that that's the lady, the blonde woman that's representing him must be the main one, the main DA.
He has already sent people to reconstruct the scene.
That's fine.
Like,
That's her job. She has to do that.
yeah, like she.
I would expect that from her. I mean, she's got to do something to show that she's protecting him, no matter what she feels about his innocence.
I just
Or
could not do it.
But I think that she has to have her own independent investigation and reconstruct the crime scene. Absolutely. I mean, they've done that. They did it on the O.J. Simpson case. They've done it. They do it all the time because she has to have some sort of framework to go on other than what she's just being handed over by the government. So I don't think his dad did anything at all, you guys. I think
I don't think the dad knew. Now, and this is a good example of it's not abnormal for the parents to fly out and drive back. Kristen just did it.
I just did it with Princess.
She flew to her and they drove back to Florida. So it's not uncommon for that to happen. And especially a drive from Washington to Pennsylvania.
That's
25 somebody with you for that trip.
Yeah, that's 2,500 miles. That's a haul. And the reason he didn't want to fly is because I guess he's afraid to fly. Well, he didn't have any option last night, did he? On that little tiny plane. So, you know, this is going to be interesting, you guys. So buckle up for it. And if there's stuff that's really factually based, we're gonna put it out there for you guys. But until we can corroborate that it's it is what it is. We don't want to do any misinformation. So, and the authorities are really going to hone in on that because they just, we don't want this case to get destroyed based on just clicks and views and misinformation. So,
yeah. And that's why I'm being very, very careful with Madalena's case, just because I do not want that case disturbed. If you guys did not come and watch the panel last night, you missed a very, very good video to the point that we finally have someone who spoke out about Madalena, and this woman knew them for the last 2 years, seen them 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week, was able to really give details and, stop a lot of the rumors. And it doesn't sound like it's going to be too long before we find out some more information. I'm going to give it to.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm going to give it up to Mecklenburg counties in North Carolina. They're doing an amazing job with her case, with the situation of there not being a whole lot on either one of the parents, especially the mom after being from Moldova. So KDM, if you look at other pictures, if you look at the other body cam photos, if you look further into it, you will see that is shadows, because he does hold his hand up and you can see that there's nothing on his hand and or his arm. I think it's just like a weird shadow. That's what is strange. People saying that his dad knew that. Oh, there was a lot of things said, Claire, that should never have been said. There was a lot of people who had their lives ruined because of this case, and that's why speculation and theorizing is one thing. But to the extent that some take it, it's not okay.
Oh, I missed something. You said you had to set KTM straight. Really?
I didn't set her straight.
Really?
Talking about she was like, I wonder what Dad thought about the injuries on his arm. And I was like, if you look into the body cam footage, he does move his arm, and you can see that there's no. It was just like
he was very
where people trip me out. They like, oh, well, let me see, and they do it in every case, every single case, and the more you zoom in on something, the more pixelated it gets. The shadows are more predominant. So
yeah, I think that he was very protective. He was very cautious in his moves afterwards. And that has even been said by, so he was a PhD teaching assistant. That's even been said by the students about his behavior. He was just, they notice stuff after the fact now that they know he's connected to these crimes. So I think he just, his behavior changed, I could go as far as, why was he going into the store on that date that they saw he was going to the supermarket? He could be getting groceries, or he could be getting Band-Aids. Who knows? I mean, it's just all going to play out in its own timing. But I think this guy, he was very, and like I said, in some ways, he was just very protective and cautious about his behaviors. And in other ways, it was just like he threw it to the wind and just let it all go. And that's what he did in the crime, allegedly. If he's, found to be guilty with this, I don't see how it's not a guilty. But we have to see.
Overall, if they hadn't have found that sheath, I don't think that they would have been able to.
Well, I think they would have. It just was something that was an initial thing to go off of. So, I mean, he could say anything. He could go, oh, that, I know somebody who borrowed my knife, so therefore my fingerprints were on there. He can do a lot of things. He's going to throw up every single wrench into the situation he can throw out of his little orange jumpsuit pocket. So, yes, it was a gift in a way to get that fingerprint, but he's going to try to talk himself out of that one. So, like I said, he got messy. He screwed up. He wasn't a good SK study. He failed that exam.
Serial killer study. He failed that exam.
Yeah.
I don't.
With the extensive knowledge he has on BTK, apparently somebody he really looks up to was Ted Bundy. There's other theories out there that he intended to do these crimes on the birth date of Charles Manson, which essentially was the 12th. But, these crimes rolled into the morning of the 13th because the victims were not home. So we could lend credence to some of those theories, or we cannot. We just have to wait and see. A true behavioralist that knows his, psychiatrists and behavioralists are going to be dissecting his every interview. We have to see what they come up with. But yeah, to me, it's going to be fascinating because this is what I do, getting into the minds of people. But, we shall see. There could be some validity to some of these theories, but we just don't have all the facts yet.
I just think it's weird that when he got arrested, he said, has anyone else been arrested?
No, because I think
that to me says you're guilty.
Well, yeah, it says you're guilty, but it's also a way to try to throw off that he's singularly guilty.
But I'm saying,
he's the sole prospect.
You just pretty much, in your own words, said that you're guilty, but you're claiming you're not, and you'll get exonerated.
Yeah. So, like I said, he thinks he's going to outsmart the system, but he won't. In the end, he won't. So the hearing happened earlier, and before I got on, I was watching Emily D. Baker break it down. So what happened was his initial appearance. So he has the right to remain silent, That courtroom and that judge is not going to be the judge nor the courtroom assigned going forward. In that county, in that state, they have two different courtrooms. And it's the setup is for everybody the same way. You have an initial hearing in one courtroom, you go somewhere in the next. So when do we want to be ready to chat, Christian? I'm good. As soon as Michelle picks up her daughter, we can chat. You can go on Google Chat or Facebook Messenger or whatever and chat, however you want to do it, or go on Discord. Michelle, you'd have to send her something.
You don't have to be on
so
here.
That was also the way what John Wayne Gacy said when he was arrested. Yeah, there's been plenty of serial killers. That's what they say. They're trying to throw off the scent. So, at any rate, yeah. So what happened today was just a formality. That won't be the courtroom. It's a tiny courtroom, nor will that be the judge. So we know that at least. It was very procedurally, so we shouldn't read anything as far as that into that, and which I didn't think to begin with, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something. So I watched Emily D. Baker, and she said this is pretty much all what they have to do. Initially let them into let them into the system there in Idaho.
Yeah. And
to move forward. And it could be that this goes to a grand jury. It could be that it goes to a jury of, his peers or whatever. That still has to be seen. The grand juries, as we've seen, are more private. I mean, Madalena's case just had a grand jury. Quentin Simon's mom just had a grand jury. Those are more private, and they go under the radar, but those findings are used to go forward in future proceedings. It's just something to be found. It's just another step along the way to be found.
By the way, I will not be going to court Monday because that has been changed. We don't have a court date now because they indicted them into the Superior Court.
Correct. That's what I thought was going to happen.
So we don't have a
so they can't hear it in that courtroom because of the grand jury indictment. It's going to be set in a different forum because it reaches another whole threshold.
Mm-hmm.
So. Anybody else? Anything that they need that they want to ask? Hi, Mega Pints.
Any questions you guys have?
A
few minutes.
Smittenkins, have you been going over this all day too? What have you been up to? Is that to Michelle or to somebody else? I don't know. That's wonderful.
No, I haven't been going over this all day. Literally. No. This is what happened to my day.
Yeah, no.
Last night, I went straight to bed like a good girl. I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm still like not asleep, like restless leg syndrome all over my body. It was ridiculous. And then I remembered, Michelle, you didn't even take your medicine. No wonder you can't go to sleep. So I had a very rough night. So then I laid back down this morning and I woke up with a migraine. And I was like, so. But then my interest.
Okay. Yeah. No, Michelle just actually reached out to me at about noon Eastern Standard Time. And she said, do you know where I get the affidavit? And I'm like, well, they said it won't be released yet. I was watching Mr. McCarthy lose for the, 7th, 8th time now. And so I was watching the whole Congress thing go on. So I wasn't looking for the affidavit, but when she said that, then I was able to find out that Brian Enton had just released it. So that's how we had access to the affidavit, and then went live shortly thereafter once Michelle got everything together and I took a shower. So that's kind of all that we've been doing as of right now. Foxfire, do we know if any of these cases will be publicized? We don't yet. So we don't even know with Quentin Simon for sure that it'll be publicized. Michelle and I are trying to figure that out. Certainly if we're able to get in there, we're going to get in there and then we're going to report back to y'all. If it isn't, then we will plan accordingly, and we'll, it might just be that it's a closed courtroom and only open to select mainstream media and family, and then they live broadcast it. And then we can do reaction and commentary based on that. And that could be the same thing with this Idaho 4 case, although I'm going to go out on a limb. If I'm going to be a betting person here, I think that this one's going to be highly publicized. So I think there's just too much national attention. So yeah. I just think that one will be.
Rasuma, can you private message me on Facebook so that I can we can make the plan.
His Spirit Wolf, his fatal mistake was high IQ. Like most with high IQs, they lack common sense. Common sense is far more important than high IQ with narrow abilities. Yeah, sometimes you get somebody with this very, very high threshold of their IQ, and then I don't know. I've found some that couldn't talk their way out of a box. So, and then you find some that are common sense smart and vice versa. And so, I think he's just so smart that maybe he's just that arrogant that he just threw the common sense out the window and thought, I'm not going to get caught. So, Spirit Wolf, I've realized that a lot lately with people that have very high IQs, they tend to overthink things and also.
Well, I don't have a very high IQ because I do not overthink things. When things get too deep, my brain shuts down. I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Their brain can be the most magical thing in the world, but also their downfall. Yeah, I mean, the human mind is incredible, you guys. So,
and Katie Elm, thank you for my compliment on my new office.
Cash. Sorry, hold on.
So, anything else, you guys?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we have 23 people in here, so we can 24. So we can kind of like do this. Is there so things are kind of like quiet with Madalena's case right now. Oh, thank you, Claire. So is there any cases that you guys want to go over, go back to? If you give me some ideas, that's what we'll start looking into. I've been working really, really hard trying to learn some computer skills.
And I'm giving her like lists of cases along the way. She says, these people need to stop moving so fast.
I did. I told her the other day. Which one was it that you sent me? Oh, the 3 kids. Have they been found?
I don't think so. I haven't heard about it yet.
The 3 kids that the parents took off with?
Yeah.
I said, I need people to sit the F down and start acting like they got some sense.
Yeah. Thanks, Smitten Kitten. Well, we're going to tag team a lot, whether it be on here or Michelle's channel. Just
no.
Stay tuned.
On here or your channel.
Me on my channel. Sorry, I'm just dealing with this dog. Michelle's channel or my channel. Just stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you can do so. One of the mods can put my channel in there.
Wait, hold on. Can you look that up? Because Lisa says the parents were found.
The parents were found? Oh, okay. Megan says she sent you that one.
Wait, you sent me which one? That was not what I'm talking about. The one that you sent me earlier? And I said I would look into?
I don't know which one Megan means.
No, this is Kyle. That's not the one you sent me. It's Kyle.
I've sent you a lot of them. So we're talking about the 3 kids that the parents took off with, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And Mississippi. Amethyst is saying that Dad was found. Okay. Well, we'll look that up. Because Michelle, you got to go get Kella, or else I'm gonna get a phone call from Kella going, you know where my mom is. And we can look into that, and we can come back live later if you all want to have updates on any of these cases. And this dog is going crazy behind me. The Dad was found in Mississippi. Okay, well.
And Arctic Fox is amazing with keeping up and putting it out there. So go check out his page, and if there's one that hasn't been found or that piques your interest, you know, I can start a post on the community page.
Yeah.
But the three kids that went missing, they were taken by the parents.
Right. And I looked extensively into mom's social media page. So she's a very, very young mom, not saying anything badly about young moms, but, and she started off this relationship, everything looked fine. They had the one child, and then there was a gap between having the older one, who's like 6 or 7, I think, and then the other two that are younger. So I don't know the dynamic in between there. I don't know the reason that they had CPS involvement, but I do know that this case, they were saying don't report to 911, just go report directly to CPS. So therefore, that leans, in my past experience, to believe that maybe they had an unsupervised weekend visit or something. The kids were supposed to come back and they did not. They were not returned at their time and place. So therefore, they were reported missing. So it looks like
Back through our messages.
he was found alive with bolos. So yeah, yay for bolos, and let's get more Amber Alerts and bolos out there.
Oh, we had good news. Someone is working on helping either get us in touch with the right people to start working on refurbishing, I guess you could say, the Amber Alert. But we're also looking at another one that can be used for runaways or categorized as runaways, because most of the time they're not runaways. All right, y'all. I'll be right back. Don't.
Do you want to just end this and we'll either hit the community page later with updates or go?
Yeah, and then
because I've got a dog that's acting up here. I gotta take him out.
That's fine. You guys, I will see you all later.
We'll keep you updated either on the community site on Michelle's, or we'll go live later on.
Yeah, I will check it as soon as I get back, and then get up with you, and then we'll work on that.
Yeah, Christina. So Michelle will find you, and then you guys can add me into a call.
All right, Terry.
All right, sounds good.
Love you guys.
Everybody. Bye.